What preps should you be focusing on this week? I've got your list coming right up. Let's go. Hey guys, it's Jara with Wicked Prepared. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, I've got your prepper report and a list of the most important items that you need to stock up on right now if you can. There are a number of reasons to jump on a particular item. There may be a shortage or the possibility of a shortage ahead. It may be something that won't be available in the future or that hasn't been available until now. And it might be something that's about to jump in price or something that has had a price drop that you're going to want to jump on and grab at the lowest price possible. Or it just may be something that you really need for a possible or probable situation looming ahead. I'm going to get right into our list and start with alternative heat sources. If you live in a colder climate, you need to have an alternative heating method, or preferably more than one. Backups for our backups is the prepper way after all. Not to mention, you may need to heat more than one area at a time, for example. There could be any number of reasons you would need this, especially over the next several months. Winter storms is the most obvious reason. Even if you live in a place where you don't think this could affect you, I mean, how many people in Texas thought they would be dealing with what they had to deal with a couple of years ago? There's also the heightened possibility of a massive cyber attack right now, along with any number of other things that could affect us. So we need to be ready. And keep in mind, it could even be a more personal situation. Maybe your furnace dies on the coldest night of the year and you can't get a repairman out. Lots of reasons that you might need alternative heat. The absolute best thing to have is wood heat, because wood is one of the most reliable and renewable resources and the easiest to procure after a disaster or collapse. If you can possibly swing the addition of wood heat into your home, I would personally think that should be a top priority. We had a viewer comment recently and tell us they're trying to outlaw heating with wood where they live. Some areas have stricter regulations, but also keep in mind that often you can be grandfathered in if you have your wood heat before these regulations take effect. So that's another thing to look into and take into account. Of course, adding wood heat or moving to a home with wood heat is not a possibility for everyone. So let's talk about alternative methods that are a little bit more accessible to everyone. Safe and effective ways for heating indoors during a grid down emergency or situation. My favorite alternative heating methods for indoors besides wood are propane and kerosene. Look for these Mr. Heater propane heaters or kerosene heaters like these. There are some great deals on heaters like these at the time that I'm recording this. I will put some links down in the description box below the video, but remember that prices can change quickly and there is a delay in this format for editing time and all that. So check the prices before you purchase. And if you want to get the most accurate up-to-the-minute posting on deals, head on over to Facebook after you watch this video and join our new Deals and Steals group over there. That's the first place that I post as soon as I find deals. So, alternative heat sources are a must-grab item. At the same time, don't forget to stock up on fuel for your heating appliances and any other alternative appliances that you have. Prices will be rising, and there are a lot of things that could happen across the globe and to the supply chain that could affect the availability of different kinds of fuels. And we know that when we need it most, it probably won't be available. So fill your gas cans, don't forget your fuel stabilizer, make sure your propane tanks are full. Pick up an extra or 2 or 3 if you don't have them already. Make sure you have any adapter hoses and filters you need. Grab some of the small canisters as well. Kerosene, butane, any fuel that you need to run your off-grid appliances, grab it, store it safely, and don't forget to rotate. Next up, meats. Protein is very important to have in your prepper pantry. There are other ways to get protein besides meat, but most of us like to have meat in our diet. Real meat, not fake meat, not lab-grown Franken meat, not bugs, real meat. There's nothing wrong with being a vegetarian, and there's certainly nothing wrong with meat substitutes, even for those of us who aren't vegetarian, but those of us who aren't vegetarian want real meat in our food storage. Meat has gone up a lot in price over the last couple of years, and I have seen a lot of reports of possible meat shortages, chicken shortages from all around the country. So you want to stock up on meat, and stock up on meat that's going to be shelf stable for long-term storage. So if you can get meat on sale today, you can be eating that same meat 10 years from now when the price is undoubtedly going to be much higher. That's an investment, my friends, and that is a very sound investment, because no matter what happens or doesn't happen in the world, we always need to eat. So food will always have value, and as the price of food goes up, the value of our stored food also goes up. I've seen more and more people lately who are building their food storage not just for emergency preparedness, but also for their retirement. when they won't have as much income, and they're going to want to spend what they do have enjoying their golden years and not just trying to survive. For the best possible investment, you want long-term storage. Not because you want to put it away and forget about it, because that's not sound practice. We always need to rotate and eat what we store. But with the longest possible shelf life, number one, we can store more of it. And number two, we don't have to worry about anything going bad if it does get away from us a little bit, because it happens, right? So for long-term storage for meat, forget about your freezer. Freezers are for convenience, not for preparedness. For preparedness, for meats, good, better, best, in that order: home canned, commercially canned, and freeze-dried. Freeze-dried is the gold standard for food storage because of its near perfect nutrient retention and its 25-year shelf life. And right now is the perfect time to buy freeze-dried meats on sale because of Black Friday. If you're in the prepping community, you probably know that Thrive Life is the best company out there for freeze-dried food, far and away, the best company. Their food is mostly single ingredient, clean food that you can use to cook the food you like the way you like it. There's no GMOs, no bioengineered ingredients in their food. They don't allow things like Edapeel or Apeel or mRNA technology in the food. And right now they have their Black Friday sale going on, so it's absolutely the best time to buy if you want the most bang for your buck. They have every kind of food that you could want, from fruits, vegetables, to cheese and dairy. But since we're talking about meats, my recommendation to look for the chicken slices. They're an amazing deal at 40% off if you buy a case. Like most companies, you can usually get the best deal by buying in bulk, but here's an insider tip. With this one item, the smaller can is actually the better unit price. I don't know why, but it is. And 40% off of meat is an insane deal. I really hope by the time this video is released that they still have the smaller pantry cans of the sliced chicken, because last time it went on sale like this, they sold out so fast, and I was totally bummed for everyone who missed out. We actually had quite a few people join as consultants after that, just for the early access to the sales that consultants get. But hopefully those are still available now as you're watching this for anyone who wants them. But even if they aren't, the bigger cans are still a deal worth grabbing. And of course, there's other meats on sale. Don't miss the sausage crumbles and the pulled pork. If you're not familiar with freeze-dried food, you will be blown away by the quality and the texture compared to canned. I know I'm talking about meats and proteins here, but really everything they have on sale is amazing. From shredded cheese to yogurt, fruits, vegetables. They even have dragon fruit if it's still available, which I hope it is, because that was exclusive to Black Friday. So head on over there and check out that sale. I will have a link down in the description box as usual. Next on the list, I want to talk about some medical items, namely cold medicines. You may have seen the news about a common decongestant that's in a lot of cold, allergy, and sinus medications that's being pulled off the shelves. So far, it's voluntary as far as I know. The drug is called phenylephrine, and basically the FDA has decided that it's not as effective in over-the-counter oral doses as they thought it was, even though it's been sold for decades. Now, I know there's a lot of people kind of questioning the true motives that could be behind this, but my thought is there was over $1 billion of this medication sold last year, so there must be some people out there who do feel like this medication works for them. So if you're one of those people, you might want to consider stocking up on this one. Nothing is saying that it's not safe, just that it's not as effective as they thought it was. Personally, this is not one that I am super concerned about. We don't buy a lot of these kind of medications anyways, because I think there's more natural remedies that actually work better than all of that stuff. So perhaps the better thing to do would be to stock up on things that will work better. Saline rinse or a neti pot, for example, are good items to have for nasal and sinus congestion. Honey, mullein, fire cider, stock up on things that are really going to help you during the upcoming cold and flu season. Keep in mind, all of these things are symptom relievers. They're just going to help you feel better, while your body's own immune system is what's going to make you get better. So also stock up on immune boosters. For those times when your immune system can't do it on its own, over-the-counter medicines aren't going to do a thing for you. And for those times, what you really need is a personal emergency antibiotic supply, like a Jace case. If you're not familiar with the Jace case, I do have a video that I did on it that I'll link down below for you to check out. Fortunately, because of Black Friday, now is also a great time to purchase a Jace case. There is a Black Friday coupon code that I'll put down in the video description for you, along with our link and our coupon code that you can use if you happen to see this after the Black Friday coupon expires. But if you can, use the Black Friday code because it will give you more money off. But if you're able to do this now, and if you don't have an antibiotic supply for every member of your family who's eligible, or if it's been over a year since you got your supply and you're eligible to get a new one, this is something that you want to do now. If we were to find ourselves in a long-term situation where services were down, outside help was unavailable, one round of antibiotics may not be enough, so grab an extra case whenever you're eligible. We are experiencing drug shortages in this country. I know people personally who have been unable to get a prescription medication because of shortages. Jace not only has antibiotics, but they also now can give you a backup supply of many everyday prescription medications that you might rely on. So you can use that to back up your supply in case you're unable to get them for any reason. And we see this happen all the time. You can also now get things like EpiPens and a whole slew of other items from them for emergency use. I'm going to be grabbing an EpiPen for my trauma kit, something that I've been wanting for quite a while, and now that we've started keeping bees on our property, it's even more important to me. Next up, vinegar, specifically white vinegar. This is something that everyone should always have on hand in mass, especially for preparedness purposes, because it has many uses from cleaning, disinfecting, food preservation. We've seen talk of vinegar shortages, and the price of vinegar has gone up by quite a bit. I buy many gallons of white vinegar quite often, so I do notice the rising prices. Until recently, I was getting gallons of white vinegar at Walmart for under $3. Those same gallons are now $3.74. Another concerning trend that we've seen with vinegar lately is a lot of people are reporting that many brands are now selling vinegar with acidity levels that's less than the typical 5% that we usually see. This becomes concerning when you use vinegar in food preservation recipes, because these recipes are formulated to give a specific acidity to make sure that the food remains safe. And they're based on vinegar with 5% acidity. So as you're stocking up on vinegar, you need to be sure to look closely at the labels and make sure that you're getting 5% acidity. Even if you don't use it for canning, pickling, and food preservation, vinegar is basically made by diluting acetic acid with water to a certain acidity. So if the vinegar that you're buying is less than 5%, you're basically buying more water and less vinegar for more money. So making sure that you're getting that 5% acidity in your vinegar means you're also getting more bang for your buck and not getting ripped off by yet another form of shrinkflation. If you have a Sam's Club membership, I have switched to buying my vinegar there for now, where I can get a 2-gallon pack for just under $6. So it's still around $3 a jug. And it's still 5% acidity. I'm buying as much as I can store so that as the price continues to rise, I can stave off paying more for at least a little while. Next up is backup power sources. Going into winter, this is more important than ever to have. And with Black Friday upon us, there's a lot of good deals to be had. So if this is something that is still sitting on your wish list instead of in your home, evaluate whether this is something that you can afford right now, because it's a great time to buy for the best price. Remember that giving the gift of security and peace of mind is priceless, even if you're giving it to yourself or your spouse, maybe your adult children, or even on the other end of the spectrum, an aging parent. There's a lot of great deals to be had on a whole range of backup power systems, because this can be anything from a large gas-powered generator that can power much of your home to portable power stations with or without solar panels that can range in size from very small and portable units all the way up to powerhouse units that can actually run your whole home, much like a gas generator. There's some great Black Friday deals going on now, and I will leave links to as many good deals as I can down below. So hopefully you can find one that works for you. If a larger unit is out of your budget, consider smaller power banks that can at least keep your cell phone charged. Remember, as long as the grid is intact, your phone is your most basic lifeline and piece of EDC equipment that is packed with vital information and tools. Small power banks are an important piece of equipment to have and also make great stocking stuffers. Next up, let's talk about pet food for a minute. More specifically, canned pet food. Don't forget to prep for your pets. Dry pet food does not have a very long shelf life, and it goes rancid pretty quickly no matter how it's stored. So it's really not feasible to store more than just a few months worth of it. So for building a stockpile of food for our pets, canned food is the way to go. Unfortunately, ever since the pandemic, it's been hard to find a lot of the time, and it's one thing that's never really fully recovered. A big part of the problem is the aluminum for the cans themselves. And with the things going on around the world, an aluminum shortage is going to continue to be an issue. So if you have pets, definitely stock up on extra canned food for them whenever you can find it. Even if it's not what they regularly eat, it's the most feasible way to build a food storage for your furry family members. We have also been dabbling in making our own food for our cats and dogs and preserving it ourselves by canning it or freeze drying it. And we're also starting to look into buying freeze-dried pet food as well. We're so well aware of all the benefits of freeze-dried food for ourselves, the nutritional benefits and the extreme shelf life. It only makes sense to move in that direction for our pets as well. So if you have any experience with freeze-dried pet food, either buying it commercially or making it yourself, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. The final item on my list today is food preservation supplies and equipment. This would be canning and freeze drying for the most part. This is something that you want to have to help you prepare, and because it's going to end up saving you money in the long run. Even with the high prices that we've all been paying for food, there's still deals to be had on meats and on produce, and if you have the means to preserve food yourself, then when you find those good deals, you can buy extra. You can buy as much as you can afford to buy, and you can can it, or you can freeze dry it, or you can do both. And then you've not only preserved the food, but you've also preserved those prices. So you can be eating that food at those low prices long after the prices have gone up. With canning, you can preserve those prices for several years, and with freeze drying, you can actually preserve it for decades. Now is a good time to buy all the things that you'll need to preserve your food in these ways. Canning season is now over, although for me, canning really has no season. I do it year round, as do most canners, but the traditional harvest-based canning season is over. So supplies should be available and plentiful right now, and you might even find things marked down on clearance. I've seen people getting all kinds of really amazing deals on canning supplies, depending on where you live and what stores you have. It's also a great time to buy a home freeze dryer because, like all those other big ticket items, they're on sale for Black Friday, and it's the best time of year to grab one price-wise. Remember, one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves, our families, and really anyone that we care about is the gift of peace of mind through preparedness. Now more than ever, it's something that everyone needs. Don't forget to check the description box below the video for links to anything that I've talked about specifically, and I will link as many deals down there as I can. But to get the most up-to-date deals, make sure to check out our new group, Wicked Prepared Prepping Deals and Steals, over on Facebook, and turn on all group notifications. Don't forget to check out the Thrive Life Black Friday sale because there are some really amazing deals, up to 50% off on the absolute best food for your long-term pantry. And if you register for an account there, you will be eligible to enter our latest giveaway. I will have details on that down below as well, so look for that. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a black circle emoji down in the comments for Black Friday. And check out this video next that explains a little bit more about that Jace case I mentioned. I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time.